The War Dancer is a really cool sort of like sword bard, depending on the subclass, rogue hybrid. So let's go over it. We're going to level by level, comment tutorial on all the items you could ever need. So of course we start with the War Dancer mod. Now this gives you Peacock Strut. So deal weapon damage to an enemy and then snare them. This is a plus 1d4 piercing damage. We get Moonlight Waltz, heal an ally. Heal more if you have at least 2 benevolence stacks. This costs 1 flow outside of combat, and we'll see this in the combat. We get Thorn Whip and Friends. Second Wind, so replenish your movement after using a spell, which is huge. Ever Evasive, so you're very agile and appear to be elusive. You don't provoke opportunity attacks, you gain a plus 3 AC. Now, for your ability points, we're going to have 8 Strength, 16 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma. For your proficiencies, take what you feel like. And that brings us to War Dancer level 2. This gives Reverse Cascade, so you can cast the next spell for free, combat only. Guidance, Dancing Lights, and Night Ode. Night Ode grants an ally 1d8 temporary hit points for 5 turns. This is awesome as well. War Dancer level 3 brings your specialization. Before that, we gain Dance, Secret. Legends say that only a dancing hero of legends can unlock their full potential. We get Divine Touch, so healing allies grants you benevolence stacks, which boost your support focused spells. And you would have seen this during the previous level up. Panther Dance, cleanse an ally from most harmful effects as a bonus action. This does cost 1 flow though. We gain Long Strider, and then we get to our subclass, and we're starting with the Blade Dancer. So mastering the art of dancing as one with the blades allows you to unleash a flurry of attacks at your enemies. And the mod maker has very nicely put the playstyle in. So this gives you Blade Dance. Once per turn, this unit can gain blades by attacking or casting. Blade Surge, so dash to an enemy 7 meters far away and deal 1 to 4 piercing damage. And Blade Flurry, deal 1 to 4 piercing damage to all enemies 2 meters around you, which means, as you can tell, this is a very frontline based subclass, and you can do multi-attacks almost. War Dancer level 4 brings our first feat. We also gain Charming Guise, so charm an enemy to prevent it from attacking you. You gain advantage on charisma checks in dialogue. Enemies have advantage on saving throws against being charmed. Substep, while dancing to a rhythmic pattern, you teleport to an unoccupied space you can see in an 18 meter radius. Regain 1 flow if you have at least 2 benevolence stacks. So not only is this a nice way to teleport, this is also a really awesome way to regen those flows you use for your abilities. Defiant Dance, so gain 1d8 temporary hit points and 3 AC, and this is huge. Now for your feat, we're going to take the ability improvement and bump our dex up to 18. War Dancer level 5 brings Own Tempo. You're immune to difficult terrain, you've increased movement. Plant Growth, the plant growth is awesome. Places on the ground, enemies that walk through it have their movement speed quartered. It's awesome for just throwing down and then letting your ranged characters just pick people off. We gain Throwing Knives, so you can actually throw these at enemies, and this is really cool as well, especially with our item list, because we can actually add bleed to them, so we can spread bleed all around the battlefield. Hidden Stash, so we can set our blaze to 2. This will cost 1 flow, but it's a nice way to just regen your abilities. And War Dancer level 6 brings Bewildering Grace. Now this is hold person, but only on a solo target, so bear that in mind. Flawless Duet, summon a blade ally that will help you in combat. This is essentially a spiritual weapon, but it's a pretty powerful one. War Dancer level 7 brings Crusader's Mantle. Radiate a holy power that emboldens you and nearby allies. You and your allies' weapon attacks do an additional 1 to 4 radiant damage. We also gain Blade Tempest, so conjure a tempest of spinning blades that attack anyone inside. You can probably guess, but this is spinning blades or whatever it's called, essentially. War Dancer level 8 brings our next feat, and Moon Mode. So illuminate the area around you with wisps of moonish light that make movement difficult for enemies and bolster your allies' damage. At the start of the turn, each hostile creature within the light must succeed a wisdom saving throw, or they must treat the area as difficult terrain, and all allies within the area deal an additional 1 to 4 radiant damage. We also have Ferocious Blade, so deal 2 to 16 piercing damage to an enemy. If this kills its target, you gain 1 blade, and you can cast this ability for free again. So this is incredible as well. Now for your ability improvement, we're going to max out our dex at 20. War Dancer level 9 brings Death Ward. Protect a creature from death. The next time you reduce it to 0 hit points, it remains conscious with 1 hit point left. So you can really feel the bardish, roguish abilities here. And Blade Storm. Deal 2 to 8 piercing damage to all enemies in a 9 meter radius around you. War Dancer level 10 brings a new feat and Dance of Generations. You have gained the knowledge of the ancient dance, you gain +1 action. Now for a feat here, we are going to max our damage as much as possible by taking Savage Attacker. So when we make melee weapon attacks, we'll roll our damage dice twice and use the highest result. War Dancer level 11 brings Bleeding Edge technology. Your attacks have the chance to make the target bleed, which is amazing. And War Dancer level 12 brings a new feat, as well as Celestial Requiem. Deal 3 to 24 radiant damage to an enemy and silence them. They'll also receive Radiant Burn. And Radiant Burn is 3 to 12 radiant damage at the start of your turn. We also gain Eclipsing Strike, deal 3 to 36 slashing damage to an enemy and make them bleed once per combat. So bear that in mind. And for your final ability improvement, you could take Alert, you could take Defensive Duelist, you could take Dual Wielder. I'm going to up our Charisma to 18 and then max it at 20 with our equipment. So now let's go over our equipment, and we start with Birthright. This will bump your Charisma to a +2, so we've maxed out at 20. We're going to take the Cindermoth Cloak. This ties into our gloves, and essentially any creature that hits us will receive Burning. This is a nice way of spreading Burning around the battlefield and bleed. For boots, we're going to take the Evasive Shoes, Acrobatics +1 and the Armour class +1. For armour, you want any clothing or light armour. I'm just going with the Studded Leather, +1 to Initiative and 1 less bludgeoning damage. For gloves, we've gone with the Helldust Gloves, +1 to spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and our weapon attacks will do an additional 1 to 6 fire damage. We also gain Raise of Fire as a cantrip, and that's always nice to have. For rings, we're going to take the Ring of Regeneration, so at the beginning of our turn, we'll heal for 1 to 4 hit points. We're going to take the Shifting Corpus Ring to give us invisibility and blur. The Amulet of Baal, so on a hit, inflict bleeding upon targets that have maximum hit points. So this is a nice way to guarantee bleed on enemies that are full of hit points, and then through our class features, we can continue that bleed potentially with our attacks. For equipment, or weapons I should say, we're going with Bloodthirst, improved criticals, so now we need a 19 to critically hit, and Exploit Weakness. Creatures hit with this weapon receive vulnerability to piercing damage. And then offhand, we're going to use Ambusher, which is another short sword. This does piercing damage, so we tie into that vulnerability. We get a +1 bonus to initiative rolls and advantage on perception ability checks. And Ambusher's Streak. In combat, we'll deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet. Which means if we use this round 1, we get an additional necrotic damage, we can spread bleed if they've got full health, all sorts of fun things. So that is the build. Let's go find some combat and check it out. Okay, we're in the combat, so let's get this going, and we're going to start with a knife throw. So this will spread bleed to the enemy, and we already hit off with an immediate critical hit. Now, next thing we are going to do is we are going to get our blade. Now you can see this is going to use one of our blades, but we throw it there. You see both our blade usages have been used for this. That's okay though, because what we are going to do is we are going to silence the spellcaster with a Celestial Requiem. Just like that. And because they haven't taken a turn yet, they've also got bleed. So you see we've got 2 enemies bleeding, so let's come into the middle here. We are then going to, if I can find my ability, Peacock Strut. We want to ensnare the enemy here. And there you go, another big critical hit. They've also got Aura of Murder, so they're now vulnerable to piercing damage. So we've got a silenced enemy who's bleeding with Radiant Burn, we've got bleeding enemy with Aura of Murder who is ensnared, and a spiritual weapon all in round 1. And we've still got bonus action, so we can strike this enemy. And you'll see the necrotic, the fire, and the normal damage all kicking in there. And you see a big miss from the enemy there. And this time they did do, and they saved the burn as well. And there you go, you see the ensnaring and the bleed coming in there, damaging the enemy. The enemy there got the burn, as well as still being silenced, they can't cast invisibility. And then we got our spiritual weapon, and this actually does quite a big amount of damage, as you can see. Okay, and we're back to our turn. You'll see we've regained 1 blade in the bottom, meaning we can benefit from some of our abilities again. So we'll start with a Blade Flurry. This will damage all enemies in a 2 meter radius around us. If we pop this here, and there you go. Enemies got bleeding, and we still have other attacks we can do. For example, we could throw another knife if we so choose. Once that loud car goes past. And there you go, now even that missed, we still caused bleed. which is what makes this so broken. From there, what we can do is we can come in here, and let's just do some very basic attacks. Now, we've got that Aura of Murder again, so they're going to be weak to vulnerability, there's the fire damage, and all sorts. And you can see we still have more attacks we can do. So we can set our hidden stash again. This will set our blaze to 2. We will cast this on ourselves. And that means we have the ability to do all of our stuff again. So we'll do a Defiance Dance. This will boost our AC by 3 and give us temporary hit points. And we still got 1 left, so we could, for example, do a Blade Storm. And we could cast this and put it... Oh, sorry, Blaze Storm is different. Blaze Storm is the one that does a multi-attack, so if we do this here. There you go, you'll see we did damage in a whole meter here. Now, ideally we wouldn't do it up here, but as a demonstration, it's fine. And you see the spiritual weapon can act like a nice little meat shield. Enemy suffering from the bleed there. And of course a big miss thanks to our incredibly high AC. And more bleed there. Enemy dies from the burning radiance there. And of course we are back to our turn with the spiritual weapon, which we can use to slice the enemy there.
No choice but to keep going.
And now that brings us back to our turn, and you'll see we have pretty decent movement. So if we come here, we will move here, we will cast Rays of Fire thanks to our gloves on the enemy here. And because we cast a spell, you'll see we have regained all of our movement, which is just insane. We also have the ability to bonus action. We can sub-step, so we can come all the way up here. And now we're ready to start throwing around some more attacks. So we could throw another throwing knife onto this enemy, which sadly missed because of the coverings. But then we can come in here, and we can spread more bleed to this enemy. That also leaves us with more attacks like a throwing knife. We can do another Blade Storm. We've got a Blade Surge. So if we were to do a Blade Surge, we can just do this. This is meant to dash you towards them, but we can just do it as a demonstration. You see, more bleed there. So we can really just spread around radiant damage burning, normal burning, and bleed if we so choose. And another big miss from the enemy there, and another big one. And now our spiritual weapon can start flying around to help it get around the battlefield, so we can come up here, hopefully. Not enough resources, I don't know why. We can send it up normally though, and it will just climb the ladder, which is a very weird animation, but there you go. And now we're ready up here, ready to start attacking on the next round. And again, we've got things so we can throw a knife on this enemy here. Make sure they take some sort of damage. We can teleport again if we want to by coming down here. And now we're in a position where we can focus on this enemy. And of course we have things like Eclipsing Strike, 3 to 36 damage and make them bleed. Now the enemy's already bleeding, but you see it's now gone to 3 turns and did some pretty significant damage, which we tried to follow up with, which unfortunately was a miss. More big misses, and more bleed there, as well as more misses. So we've not actually taken any damage at all. In fact, I don't think we've been hit at all, apart from the very first round. And of course, our greatsword, you'll see the enemy here has 66 health, and we can do a big, solid 20 damage. And we've healed up even though we don't need to, meaning we can come in here, spread the Aura of Murder, land a big crit again, and of course, if we wanted to, we could substitute. Instead, we are going to come here, try and move as far as we can, and we can cast a spell. So let's throw, we will do a Crusader's Mantle. We'll do this on ourselves, and because this is a spell, you see we've regained some movement speed, meaning we can come all the way back down here. And next round we'll be able to come all the way up here and start doing some damage. And of course our spiritual weapon can continue hunting down enemies. 25 damage this time. And it's time for us to sub-step, so we'll come up here, ready to swing. We are now right behind the enemy, and of course we have all these other abilities we can do, so we could do another Celestial Requiem. Get that Radiant Burn, follow it up with some attacks, a big crit, and we still got bonus actions we can do. So we could do a Blade Flurry, And there you go. And you can see they've got the bleed and the radiant damage, as well as more misses. And now you'll see we have both enemies near us, so we can do some of our really awesome abilities. So let's do a Blade Storm. And there you go, you'll see we cause bleeding on one again, and we damage both, and we still have the option. We could afterwards do a Blade Tempest, we could do another Blade Storm. If we throw down a Blade Tempest, we'll throw this here. And there you go. Now, they're kind of stuck within this blade for a second. And if we want to, we can follow up with another bonus action with a attack when it loads, or stops lagging, I should say. We'll do it on the enemy here. And there you go. And on this one, we'll do a regular attack. Just like that. And then the enemy died there. Now, we took damage, unfortunately, by falling through the Blade Tempest, but it's just so fun. Now, we can also heal our allies, because we do have those bardish abilities. And there you go. Now we can do that in combat, we can do it out of combat, option is really yours. We can do another one, you'll see it just uses some of our flow. And what's really awesome about this is if we short rest, you'll see we get all our flow black.
It's been a
So,
long day.
this is just such a powerful mod, it's a great way to not take any damage, to spread around a bunch of stats effects. Overall, it's just incredibly fun. So I really hope you have enjoyed the Blade Dancer. Was it Blade Dancer or something? Let's just jump in here. War Dancer, that's the one. The Blade Dancer War Dancer subclass mod for Baldur's Gate 3. If you have, drop the video a like and let me know what you would change about the build, any new items, weapons, all that sort of stuff. If you're not ready, please subscribe to the channel for more. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, to Path of Exile, to Dragon Age, Elden Ring, Expedition 33, Oblivion, all the amazing RPGs you could ever need. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.